see heaven invading this place. I see angels praising your holy name. I sing praises, I give you all, worthy Jesus. I see glory falling in this place. I see hope restored, healing of all disease. I sing praises, I give you all, worthy Jesus. I see glory falling in this place. I see hope restored, healing of all disease. I sing praises, I give you all, worthy Jesus. We give you praise and all of the honor. You are our God, the one we live for. We give you praise and all of the glory, God. We give you praise and all of the honor. You are our God, the one we live for. We give you praise and all of the glory, God, and all of the glory, and all of the glory. Let your presence fill this place. Let heaven come. Let your angels be released. Let heaven come. We will worship at your feet. Let heaven come. Face to face we want to meet. Let heaven come. We give you praise and all of the honor. You are God, the one we live for. We give you praise and all of the glory, God. We give you praise and all of the honor. You are our God, the one we live for. We give you praise and all of the glory, God, and all of the glory, and all of the glory, and all of the glory, and all of the and all of the glory, and all of the glory, and all of the glory.
Good morning, Rooted Men. Pastor Tom, Firmly Rooted Ministries. It is Wednesday morning. Looks like we're going to get some snow today. I hope you are prepared for the snow to come. So we were already out at the gym this morning, did a little exercising, and going to make sure the snowblower's working and all that kind of stuff, and get ready for it. But I hope that your week so far is going well. Great to have all of you on board. It looks like we're live in all the places we're supposed to be live. Everything's green lighted. So let's say hi to a few people, and then we'll get to Judges chapter 8. We're nearing the end of the section of Judges that deals with Gideon. Steve Giroux, good morning. Ken Gooch, good morning, fellow brothers in arms. I'm out there in X. Good morning, Rooted Men. Eric, good morning. Chuck, shalom, gentlemen. Chris, good morning. Bert Reggiani, good morning. Great to have you on board. There's several others that I can see that are on, so that's great. Let me pull up our reading for today. Judges chapter 8. And so yesterday we dealt with the battle and how they won the battle as God made them kind of all collide into each other and so forth. And so we're now at Gideon, his ephod. We'll explain that in just a second. But we're in Judges chapter 8, verse 22. Then the men of Israel said to Gideon, "Rule over us, you and your son and your grandson also, for you have saved us from the hand of Midian." Makes sense, right? We've been under oppression. God spoke to you, Gideon. God worked with you, Gideon. God allowed you to win a battle with 300 men. God caused the Midianites and those fighting to turn on each other, and just the most crazy thing in the world. But once you experience something like that, you kind of say to yourself, hey, let's keep this trend going. We like this trend. So how about you rule over us, and then let's assume your son and grandsons are all going to be under the same lineage. And so, man, we could have 3 generations of rulers guiding us in the right way. It's really not a bad thought, in the sense that they recognize God was working with Gideon, and maybe this was a way to stay in the game of faith, and to not go through this constant cycle of once God saved them, just to turn and go back and do whatever it is you wanted to do. So much like Pharaoh, who would repent and then change his mind, repent and then change his mind. Listen to what Gideon says. Gideon said to them, "I will not rule over you, and my son will not rule over you. The Lord will rule over you." Well, there you go. That's a great distinction. That ultimately it wasn't me, it was God. We all need, I don't think he's turning down the idea of leading. What he's saying is, don't focus on me. God is the one who was in all of this. This all began, and I was inside of a cistern, hiding from everyone, trying to sift grain from the chaff in the middle of a hole in the ground. But I experienced God's authority, and I experienced God's power, and we ultimately all experienced it when he went and fought before us and destroyed the Midianites and the Amalekites. And Gideon said to them, and I often wonder whether there's a gap in time here, or whether this was all part of the same conversation. But let's assume it's part of the same conversation. Gideon said to them, "Let me make a request of you. Every one of you give me the earrings from his spoil," for they had golden earrings because they were Ishmaelites Who is Ishmaelites? And by the way, Ishmael, right, the son of Abraham, that was not part of the promise. The Amalekites and the Midianites were descendants of Ishmael, and they would always be wearing these gold earrings. It kind of represented their culture. Well, when they were defeated, the spoil was to take wealth and take things off of the bodies of the people that were dead and lost the battle, and that was your spoil. The military would pay itself back by the spoils, animals and gold and linens and all sorts of things. They answered Gideon, "We willingly give them." And they spread a cloak, and every man threw in it the earrings of his spoil. And the weight of the golden earrings that he requested was 1,700 shekels. A shekel was about 2/5 of an ounce. 2/5 of an ounce. You're talking about 1,700 shekels of gold. Besides the crescent ornaments and the pendants and the purple garments worn by the kings of Midian, and besides the collars that were around the necks of their camels, they had these ornate expressions of wealth, even around the necks of their camels. And so the question is, what does Midian want it for, and what does he do with it? Well, he makes an ephod, a statue, and put it in the city of Ophrah. Now, it's hard for me to believe that if this is all one conversation, it's hard for me to believe that Gideon, who just has watched and witnessed God do amazing work, and then told the people that he would not rule them, but God would, that he built this as an idol. My gut tells me that he built it as a remembrance. Just like Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob would build altars when God would encounter them. They would put stones together and build an altar so they could remember God's hand. And I believe that this is not, I don't think Gideon is trying to do the same thing that Aaron did in the wilderness, which is melt all the gold and build an idol. I think he's trying, possibly, to build a remembrance image that we don't forget what God has done on this day. I could be wrong, and he might directly be creating an idol, but it just seems contrary to his attitude about not serving them. Because if he would have been more arrogant, he would have said, "Okay, I'll serve you and my sons and my grandsons." And so anyway, I won't belabor the point. But notice what he says. All Israel whored after it there, and it became a snare to Gideon and to his family. He may not have meant it to be used as an idol, but a broken, sinful people with a track record of doing whatever they want and worshiping Baals and worshiping Asherah, they turned this thing into an idol, and it became a snare. And the family becomes arrogant, and they become the holders of the ephod. And all of a sudden, what was maybe meant to just remind us of God, Satan uses and twists to become a glorification of Gideon and a glorification of his family. And everyone began to whore. The word whore. You're cheating on me. You and I had a relationship, and now you changed and you're having a relationship with someone else. This ephod becomes a snare to Gideon and to his family. So Midian was subdued before the people of Israel, and they raised their heads no more. And the land had rest for 40 years in the days of Gideon. 40 years of rest after Gideon did this work. But there's a snare. There's this sliver that's getting infected. And it's always going to have an effect. One of the things that we have to watch out for, gentlemen, is those slivers. Those little things, those unintended things that we think aren't that big of a deal. And all of a sudden, they become a big deal because Satan twists our heads and our thoughts, and we forget the original intent. And before you know it, we're going down a path we ought not to be going down. It happens to the best of us. Look at how many priests and pastors, politicians, people of supposed integrity slipping, falling short, because they're human. We're all sinful. Hence why we are supposed to avoid anything that gets close to idolatry. Do not make golden images. Do not make anything that God doesn't tell you to make. Right? That's the warning. Don't have any other gods beside me. All right. I'll leave it at that. Let's see. Who did I miss maybe? There's Bert Reggiani. There is Brian Vlaming. Good morning, men. All right. All right, everybody. I think that's it for this morning's message. I'll be back at 8:30 for Strengthening Our Roots. Have a great day. Make it a firmly rooted day, and may someone see Jesus in us today. Peace.